so many places that you can find us streaming live on the web. So I'm going to make sure that I can see you guys and that you can see me. And I see it. We're live now. There's the notification. I can see it. Great. And I can see that you guys are jumping on. Fantastic. And let's see if I'm getting that notification. Facebook is always just slightly behind our regular YouTube feed. So there we go. I see it. There we go. And I'm seeing everybody here. Perfect. Great. We're all here. Okay. And so let's see. I'm hearing that there's a little bit of sound feedback. How are we doing on sound? We're still working on sound here. So give me some thumbs up if you guys are hearing me okay. We're still working on our sound issues in this little studio we have, but I'd love a thumbs up or some feedback just to let me know how sound is sounding. Also, make sure that on your devices for sound, maybe that it's not turned up super all the way, but I think that our settings are pretty good. It looks like I'm getting some thumbs up there, so it's great. I think we're okay. So sound is coming and going. Well, it will be hopefully uninterrupted on the playback. Let me go ahead, Brandon. I'm going to knock that sound back down to that one setting we had earlier. The middle one. The middle one. There we go. Let's try that. See what you guys think. Okay. Let me know what you think here. Is that any better? Better? Worse? It's like we're acting, we're on the, at the eye doctor. Better? Better?
It'll probably be really good once we get into the project.
Better?
Nice and close.
That's right, I'll be nice and close. So, give me some more feedback here. Is that better? Lots better? Great. Okay, well let's go with that, and then we will we'll try and oh, the Morse code thing is still happening.
But it might. It seems to be. It might just be her. It might be something
Could
on
be.
her hand. She's the only one that's talking about the bass.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody else. They're most saying that it's just coming and going, maybe as you move.
All right, let's try this. Let's try one more setting. One more, and then we'll go. Okay. Well, and we're gonna move the camera a little bit closer to me as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys, that the sound isn't great, but soon we're getting it. We're honing in on it. Just make sure on your devices, you guys, because I'm hearing some people that it sounds okay. Lots of bass, huh? Let me try this one more time. Make sure that the sound is up on your devices. Let me just do this, and I don't know if maybe I'll try that one. Let's try that and this. How does that? Is that better? Let's see. Better. Let's try maybe that that looping sound is going off. Okay. Let's try that. Let me know. Okay.
We got it perfect from the one who was
okay.
Person.
Great. And Michelle? I can see good. And Michelle, that sounds better. Great. Okay, good. We're gonna go with that. Okay? So there we are. All right. Hey everybody. It's Wednesday. It's time for Facebook Live here at beadshop.com. We are going to be doing the Tree of Life today, which I've got this Tree of Life pendant, which is sitting right here next to me over here, which is going to be super fun. This is kind of a Bead Shop classic, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the handout and stuff that we have with it. And we're just going to jump in. We're really going to play with wire and have a great time today, I think. So for this project, as for all of our projects on beadshop.com, if you go to our website, you can go over to the little button that says Facebook Live right on the header bar. click on that, and that's where all of our Bead Shop Live projects are archived, okay? So the newest one is always first in line, right? So if you're watching this not live and it's been a few weeks, it's a little further on down the line there. But click on it, all the learning is there. So a lot of you watched last week with the incomparable Allie Morey when she was here by my side, okay? She did just a great job sharing that month of wraps, and we have a really epic lookbook for that. What's also epic, if you guys haven't had a chance to download it yet, Drea finished the episode notes and I uploaded them yesterday onto that page. If you don't know what episode notes are, you guys, episode notes are kind of the cliff notes that we write post-show. Brandwin takes photos during the broadcast. Drea throws everything up in the air, watches the broadcast, and does the notes. And incredible, just amazing. These episode notes, you guys, that Drea wrote are not 10, Brandwin, not 15 pages,
Wow.
not even 20 pages. They are 22 pages long. They're incredible. They talk about the splice, the Allie Morey splice that's on there. It also gives her tips for photographing and all that good stuff. Janice has linked them over on our YouTube feed, and I know Gita is here and as Bead Shop linking over on the Facebook side, so you guys can find all of that. They're really, the learning around this project, I can't thank Allie, I can't thank you enough for just pulling all of this together. And Drea, the notes are, the bar is set so high now, we have nowhere to go but fall off from there. That was our real apex. It was really fantastic. So that's our story. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that one. And don't worry, Allie will be back. We've got something new that we're cooking up. Not only will of Allie's designs, but we've got some other things hanging on in the wings, and some of you know what I'm talking about already. So I can't wait to share that stuff with you. So that was last week, but let's talk about this week. We have the Tree of Life pendant. And I told you guys earlier in the little test broadcast, we've got the Tree of Life handout here. And the handout is one of our, from when we had our brick and mortar store. For those of you who don't know, beadshop.com was a brick and mortar store from 1982 to 2008. And I was there for 10 wonderful years of that brick and mortar time. This handout came a little bit after my time, and it was written by Janice, and the samples and the photography were done by our wonderful Nicole Anderson, who has since passed away. But we always, when we pull out one of her projects or things with her pictures, we remember her and honor her wonderful creative memory. But this is a great, and it has a little story that Janice wrote here. So I thought it was pretty cool, because I have a little story about important trees in my life too. But Janice wrote on the front of this handout, she wrote, "Some of us grew up with a favorite tree in our back garden. The one I remember most is the apricot sapling I planted with my daughter when she was 3. Now, Ashley is not 3 anymore. She's not, I don't even think 33 anymore. So she's grown up a bit. It was no thicker than the width of my pinky finger, but Ashley loved it. She loved that tree and she called it George. They really grew up together. And to our amazement, George became a plum tree after a few years. And Janice was still living in her place in Palo Alto, and she said, today that tree is strong and beautiful with its arms lifting to the sky. Well, I'm sure that tree is still lifting its arms up, and we're going to kind of have our ode to trees that we love so much with this project. So let's go ahead, Bran. I'm going to move everything around, and let's get a bird's eye view for all y'all, and let's get this party started. Janice, you're saying that Ashley is 38. I'm going to pretend that I don't know that,
My grandson
because
isn't even 3.
yeah, because that's just crazy, because I remember Ashley also as a baby, so that's crazy. Time passes so quickly, doesn't it? All right, how did we do? Pretty well, I think, Bran, huh? Great. And I think all you guys can see me pretty well. Great. We're working on our overhead camera too, so I think it's much more stable. Look at us making progress. Branduin.
And I remember to take the
Look at us. The notes off. Look at us.
We're gonna be good.
Look at us. We're so incredible. So let me put the handout here front and center so you guys can see this. So this is the handout that you can go to the website and print out. Today's, of course, you know, in Kate fashion, and I'll just kind of flip through it here so you can see it. In Kate fashion, of course, I am going to go a little beyond this handout, right? Because, but it has some really great fun tips in here, a lot of great steps. So this will be a great starting point from you. You can always make your notes on here as you go along with this project. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a moment. I'm going to pull my piece into the fore here because I want you guys to see what I've got. Here is the, maybe if I put it on this one, it might not be so hard to see on the white. And I'm going to pull, I went on, if you are a member of our bead table group on Facebook, and I know many of you are, we have kind of been posting in the group some things about trees, right? Some kind of our inspiration photos about trees, and I have some photos here. My mom just said that she's sitting in the patio looking at the camphor tree we used to climb as kids. Yes, we have trees. For me and my family have a really big significance because my granddad was a prune farmer in Santa Clara County, and so we grew up with a lot of prune trees in our lives. So we were big tree fans. And I also, the tree that jogged my memory, and you may have seen this on the Facebook group, my buddy Christine from back in high school, she's on that group. She's a really great bead artist, and also was my partner when I had my bead store in San Francisco. We remarked on the tree that used to be in our backyard when I was growing up, which was a fig tree. And it was kind of gnarled and had really interesting branches, and it was pretty cool. So unfortunately, I don't have a photo of that tree, but I had put some that stood in. And Christine sent this one. This is her tree photo that she put it up in the group, so I grabbed it. This is a photo. It's one of the oldest trees in Balboa Park down in San Diego. Christine works at the Natural History Museum there. This was planted for the Panama Pacific exhibition there in 1914. So this tree is over 100 years old there in San Diego. And this has such wonderful gnarled, kind of a beautiful gnarled trunk and some beautiful spreading limbs, which I think is great. And then one of our bead table members, and I'm sorry, I should have written it down. If it was you who posted this in our group, thank you. It's this one with this beautiful silhouette and kind of the moonrise in it here. And then I grabbed these two kind of stock photos that I found online as well. Really wonderful silhouette. How great the tree roots were. And this one, just that gnarled, twisted trunk. And it also is a really great color palette here, super inspiring. So these Drea will put these in the episode notes for you as well. But this, I think, is a great way to start for your Tree of Life pendant, is to look at trees, right? And so I looked at some photos and kind of found what you can do. I mean, you can certainly take a tree right out of your imagination, right? We all have wonderful imaginations, and we can all, I think, visualize a tree. But I think kind of a good way to start to figure out how to maybe formulate the design in your mind might be to do a little bit of drawing. And for those of you who know me and how I design, you know that I don't do a lot of drawing. I do sometimes. I do some sketching or things like that, but I don't always. I'm not always a drawer. So what I've got here is I just grabbed my template from my jewelry making template. One of them, it's just a circle template that you guys can find at the art supply store. I have on the sample that I have here, I made this frame, and I'm going to show you how to make this frame, okay? But we also have some ready-made frames that we carry. We have this is called the large hoop. We have this one. We also have this hoop component. It's about the same size, roughly. They're pretty big. Let me get my measurer, and I'll tell you. This hoop is about 35 millimeters, the outside diameter, and this one's a little smaller, about 33 millimeters, the outside diameter. Well, if we look at kind of our circle template, let's say that we were doing this one. I could line my circle up with this guy here, that template, that loop that it works with. And I'll take this out and I'll just get my pen and I'll make my little drawing. And I could do this also with my square, like, right, I could make my square, and I'm going to show you how to make the square in a second. But you could just kind of come in here and look at your tree, all of these wonderful trees, and say, well, maybe I want this tree that I made has kind of a skinnier trunk. Maybe I want the roots of my tree to kind of come out that way, and I want to do this kind of wide, right? And then maybe I'll kind of have some things that come up there, right? And it's coming there. So maybe I want this here, and then maybe they all start to twist kind of like that. Maybe these are kind of twisted together. I don't know, something like that maybe. And then maybe I just have one kind of rogue one out there. And then maybe I have a branch, some branches, and maybe I want to make them kind of connect. And then maybe I want some full ones like that. And then maybe I want some over there. Maybe that one connects. Maybe that's mostly twisted wire. And then maybe a short one that connects down there. I don't know. Maybe something like that, all right? You know, you could see that I am not a super drawer, but, you know, who cares, right? You just kind of jump in and just, you know, do your thing, right? So there's that one. And then, you know, I'll have beads or different sizes or whatever. And then maybe I'll use some kind of a jump ring, or maybe I'll wire wrap up there, I don't know. And then maybe I'll have some wire wrapping out here, maybe with some beads, I don't know, something like that, and some wire wrapping here. Okay, so I've got kind of a silhouette of what I'm going to use, right? Or you can skip this step completely and just jump right in. Okay, so I'm going to kind of use this one a little, that it's where I'm going to start. And I'm actually going to make my square so you can see how this goes. If we were doing a circle like this, and I was doing a circle like with wire, let me move my tree.
Just like
Drawing
this
again.
is kind of the edge.
The edge, okay, thanks, Fran. I'm going to scoot myself over a little bit. If this were my circle, I could just use this one, or I could use wire and get something that I around as kind of a jig. I could do that too. Okay, but I'm going to let me show you the square. Okay, so I use the wire that I'm using for the frame is 16 gauge. Okay, that's what this is here. And I am using, here I've used rose gold. Okay, now one of our bead table members, Michelle, did this absolutely crazy beautiful tree of life that she posted in the bead table group. She it was round, and she went ahead and antiqued her piece. Okay, so I'm using the rose gold. It's a silver silver plated wire with the rose gold coating over the top. What Michelle used, and correct me, Michelle, if I'm wrong, because I know you're watching, she used a bare copper wire, just like this parawire, and she antiqued this. And again, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but my guess is that you made the piece first and then did the antiquing. Okay, so if you use a fairly mild antiquing product like liver of sulfur, you'll be able to go ahead and antique it after the beads are on. I'm not going to do it today, but I do have, I think it's in my Viking knit episode on Facebook Live, where I think I did the free tip Friday that went hand in hand with that one.
Yeah.
I talk about how to use this liver of sulfur gel, and it just adds a lot of depth and dimension. Something like this plated wire here, like this rose gold, the non-tarnish, the kicker is here, it says non-tarnish wire. So even putting something like liver of sulfur on there will not tarnish it. But using the bare copper wire and antiquing after it's done gives this whole project a whole new dimension. So it was really quite lovely, Michelle, and with your permission, maybe Drea will add it with credit to you in our episode notes, because it's really fantastic. And yeah, the beads, Cindy, you're asking antiquing with the beads. The liver of sulfur is a naturally occurring product. It's not an acid, so it won't eat away at your beads. Some other antiquing products like Silver Black, it's known by, or Black Max, those that are acid products that transfer a patina will sometimes, more often than not, harm your beads. But the liver of sulfur, it's so fast when you use it. It's so fast to antique that your piece isn't submerged for very long, and it's very mild on your beads. Okay, so there's a whole I talk about it the whole time in that Friday free tip Friday, when I talk about antiquing. I go outside, I'm antiquing on our balcony. It's a fun episode to watch. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. But you can go to our project page as well on this for liver of sulfur. It comes with some really good instructions, and I also might add my instructions on the project page. So I wanted to give my little plug for that. And you can, of course, always find this on our website, beadshop.com. So, but let's get back to the wire that I am using. Okay, I'm using the rose gold, and since I'm using such, what's that?
We got linked to the
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what, Brandon? I'm going to talk about the wire. You know what I didn't pull? I actually need those three semi-precious beads, or those four rather. The gemstones,
So
the 3 mil, please.
Yeah.
So, and I won't move while Brandon grabs those for me. So the wire that I'm using, you guys, like I said, for the outside is 16 gauge, okay? And the wire that I used to make the branches of the trees, I used 26 gauge. Now I used 26 gauge because I used such fine, small gemstones, okay? I'm using, these are our gemstone rondelles. I'm going to cut this up and so you guys can see. The hole sizes in these beads are tiny. So a 24 gauge wire, just too small for this. Okay? Just too small. So, but these will work just perfectly on this 26 gauge. We have a whole bunch of those gemstone beads that are perfect for this. I'm going to kind of lay them here and you guys can take a look. If you go to beadshop.com, you can find under our gemstone beads, I've got a few here that I laid in. These are the labradorite faceted rondelle, the green onyx faceted rondelle, the peridot faceted rondelle, and of course, last but not least, the garnet. Those all would be really beautiful to use. Okay, it looks really awesome. These will all work really, really nicely. If you want to use a different type of bead and not use a gemstone, there are plenty of other beads you can use. Of course, you can look through your stash, right? You might have something good in your stash. But these rice beads, look at our rice pearls. These are our gray petite rice right here, and then just our petite rice beads. These would look glorious, especially if you're going to antique your wire. Use a bare copper wire and antique it. It would look amazing, I think. And then the other ones that I pulled, that I think sometimes you guys forget about. So we're getting some new ones of these. I have them in our new product pile, and you're going to see them launched soon. These are our rice beads, you guys, and these are in our Vintage Finds collection. This is a bead shape that you don't see much anymore. So we do have a finite supply of these, but we have a pretty good supply of them. I'm adding some beautiful colors. There's a labradorite, there's a green aventurine, I think there's a rose quartz. Those will be up in a few weeks. But these, this is flake obsidian. It would look like there was snow on your branches, right? This is unikite. I of the 80s girl in me, I think. And then, of course, picture jasper here, which just looks like the desert, and it's just gorgeous. These that I showed earlier, these, Lala, that you're asking, and I added, oh, and the rest of the frames, you guys saw these, but I'll point them out here. And we've got them under, on our website, under our components, but we've got some different ones. These are all Nun Design components, beautifully made, very high quality. These are made out of wire, and they're hardened, so they're really super sturdy. These would work beautifully for your tree of life, especially if you're using more petite beads. If you have, let's see, I can see that. Let's see, is the camera red? Is the camera up?
Yeah, I believe it says stream recording.
Okay,
so
there we go. I think we're back.
But you might.
You know what? Maybe let's open the door. This door, okay, to make sure that we're not too far from. Is this better? We're good. You can even, I don't know, even open it.
Okay.
Maybe. Let's see. Is this better? Better. The broadcast, again, you guys, the broadcast will be uninterrupted on the stream. So I'm sorry about that. Sometimes we have a little bit of a dip in our broadcast capacity. So, but we're back. Good. Thanks for hanging in there. So all of those, of course, you can find all of those frames right on Bead Shop. Okay. Also try and going in and out of your feed as well when you're on. So let's take a look. We're going to build this guy next, and let's get started. Let me just grab something right over here. Okay. So let me get our 16 gauge. Here we go. Ta-da! And this is going to be our frame. Okay. I think everybody's high-speed internet, Kathy, is iffy. So hopefully we'll hang in there. Okay. So let me just draw one of those. Yeah, we may need a Wi-Fi extender, though it's not too far from here. So we'll be getting it. Well, there's always something to improve, right? So, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And of course, the rebroadcast should be all uninterrupted. Okay, so let me get my pen here, and I'm just going to draw And let me know. Hopefully this is a little bit better. Hopefully you guys can hear me and see me okay. So I made this one. This is the one that I made. It's about 1.5 inches, which is here. So I'm just going to draw this down. 1.5 inches by, I don't know, about 1.25 inches, I guess. So that's about the frame size. There we go. And so I'm just going to draw it here. And you don't have to draw it, right? You can just wing it, freehand it if you want. But I'm going to draw this out so you've got something to look at. Okay. And again, well, we always appreciate you guys sticking with us. You know, well, someday we'll have an even, okay. Looks like my broadcast was interrupted again, but I'm going to keep going because I think it will reconnect. And we're back. There we go. Okay. So this is going to be 16 gauge here. Okay. So I'm going to get my wire, my 16 gauge wire. I'm going to cut a length. Come on.
Yeah,
move
it's
all
cutting
this,
in and out,
cutting
but
in
it's
and
coming
out.
back pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
we'll just keep going.
We're just gonna keep riding this wave, you
It's
guys.
probably weather related.
Yeah, it is. It also, the weather is not great here, so sorry our Wi-Fi signal isn't the best today, but we'll just keep that up and running, and we'll just keep going. Okay, there we go, Bran. I think this is better.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great.
So I'm going to go ahead and start making my my frame. So I'm going to get my my regular chain nose plier. And if the center is going to be here, I'm going to make a little, you know, kind of maybe a bigger something for the top right there. Okay. And then I'm just going to come in and I'm going to grab it with my chain nose pliers, looks like about there. Make a bend. Notice how I'm just working off my strand of wire, right? Just working off it. I'm going to come down here, kind of grasp like that so you guys can see it, and I'll bend. I'll check it against my template. I can also now see that I'm going to need about that much wire, so I'm going to cut off my remainder. I don't know, maybe that's a foot, maybe it's a little less, maybe about 10 inches or so. But see, there we go. It's lining up pretty nicely. And then you're going to play around with it a little bit after you shape the whole thing, kind of rough in the shape. But there's that one. I'll get that in. There we go. So that looks about right, right? And then I'm going to make this bend right up here, like so. Okay, and seam like that. Okay, let's see if this all lines up pretty well. That didn't line up, so let's just straighten it out. It's okay. I'm not going to stress. I'm going to just put my little plier up just a little bit more. There we go. That looks about right. Okay, so I've got it right here. There's my frame. Now I'm going to kind of straighten all this out, though I don't mind the frame being a little wonky. If you guys know me, you know that I don't like things being a little off kilter. I wonder if that's any commentary that's about me, but we're just going to gloss by that. And so now you can see, yeah, this I think looks just great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wire wrap. I'm going to wire wrap, see this long end. I'll come in. I'm just going to kind of hold it there so it's kind of tight. I'm going to make that. The thing that you don't want to do, you guys, is pull this too tightly when you're wrapping, or else your frame is going to pinch in like this, okay? And it's fine if you are doing that on purpose, but if it just starts to slide in like that and you don't want it to happen, then you just need to be aware of it. So just make sure that first bend that you're not smushing the frame, okay? So now I'm just going to come in again. Let me flip this over, and I'm just going to really twist this wire around. Sometimes it's easier to deal with just my hands, especially the 16 gauge, if I've got a long tail with it. And that way I'm not killing it with my pliers either. And I can also really watch my tension. That doesn't look too bad. See how my wraps are a little goofy like this over here? So I'm gonna get my bent chain nose. Let's do this. And this, like that. And then I'm going to kind of, and I think I just really need 2 wraps, okay? And then click, clip, click and clip, there we go. And that little tip, see at the end, I'm just gonna wrap that in. Now I'm not gonna do anything, you're like, well, what are you doing with this wire up here? Nothing yet, okay? Just go with me on this. I'm gonna just kind of let that go for a moment. Now I can, and this looks pretty good. Looks about the right size, doesn't look too wonky. The stem is fairly in the middle, not too bad, right? So that works okay. What I'm gonna do is I wanted to show you guys just real quick, we have in my bench block here. If you wanted, this 16 gauge, you guys, is really sturdy, right? And I've made this frame so it's not gonna wiggle around, okay? But if you wanted a little bit of dimension, and in that aforementioned beautiful tree of life that Michelle did, she did some hammering, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, on her frame. You can also see, I don't know if you guys can see, but if I kind of turn it to the side, you can see that it's a little off kilter, okay? And Cindy's saying she likes it even a little wonky. It adds to the organic look of a tree, and I tend to agree about that. So I could use my bench block and my fingers to just kind of smush it down a little bit. And smushing it down is a technical term, right? And then I'm going to come in. Now I want you to kind of plug your ears a little bit because I'm going to hammer. It's not going to be too loud, but just so you know, hammering's coming up, okay? So I'm going to start by hammering on these corners, all right? So I'm just going to come in, tap, tap, tap. And see the tapping motion that I'm doing as I strike the piece and pull. I am forging that wire so it moves a little bit, so it has a little bit of shape. And Brandon will come in nice and tight after I do all of these, okay? So you can see it. Let me do this just kind of quickly. Hammer, hammer. I could even flip it over if I wanted to a little bit. I'm going to get that center just slightly. Remember, that's right. Yes, Gita beat me to it. We're not building a house here. We are just making jewelry. So light taps. Notice how I have my hand off the bench block, so I'm not striking my hand with my hammer, and I'm also striking in the same place and moving my piece. That's going to help me not to smush my finger. There we go. And so you can see how we have some nice dimension. Let me get this last part right here. Okay, and so there we have, there we go. It might even be easier to see in my hand. There you can see we've got some nice dimension with the frame. Whoops, someone did not turn off their phone. Sorry about that, you guys. That was how embarrassing. I tell everybody, turn off your phone, people. Turn off your phone, people. And what didn't I do? Turn off my phone. Okay, so now let's get to wrapping. Let's get to making the trunk, okay? This part, this is where I want you to improvise. and start really using your tree imagination. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut about a 10-inch piece. If this was, remember how we said that this piece is about 1/4 of an inch, or 1 1/4 inches by about 1 1/2 inches. Okay, here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut for the trunk. Let me get the pendant in here so you can see what I've got. So, and it's kind of hard to see there, but I've got, I think I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yes, I cut 7 pieces of wire for this trunk. If you want your trunk to be bigger, more gnarled, whatever, use more wire here. So I'm going to cut, you cut 10 inches approximately. Like if I wanted 10 wires to work with up here, 10 branches, I'd cut 5 wires and fold them in half. I'm going to show you that. Or if I wanted 12, I'd cut 6. This one has 14 branches, so there's 7 pieces of wire down here. I'm going to cut like maybe, I don't know, maybe 10. Let's cut a bunch and see what happens. Okay, and I'm just going to do this fast. Doesn't need to be perfect. So I'm going to cut, there's my 26 gauge wire here. I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to just hold there with my finger and clip. And let's cut 10 of these. So that's 2. You could also, it would look kind of good, especially if you were going to antique this piece. You could throw some bare copper wire in with your shiny wire, right? Your non-tarnished wire. Then when you antique in the trunk, you would have some wires that would go dark and some wires that would stay light, which I think would look amazing. That's 2, 4, that's 5. Let's cut 5 more. 5, that's 6. And again, this is about 10 inches. I'm going to have plenty of wire left over, but you know, wire is pretty inexpensive unless you're using sterling, right? Then it's a little more dear. But you want enough to twist and work with. You don't want to have to add wire in this portion. Now I have no idea. I have not been counting. So let me see how many I have here. I may have one too many. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I'm going to give myself one more just for fun, just so I've got it. Because I said I'd do 10. Let me do 10. And this is the rose gold wire that I have here. But any wires that suit your fancy will work. Okay. So I'm going to visualize. I'm going to start. You can start wrapping these anywhere you want, right? But I'm going to kind of start from the middle and work my way out. So I'm going to grab one of my 10-inch wires that I have here, okay? I'm going to come in, go about halfway down.
Why don't we move so you're not right over the drawing?
Oh, right over the drawing. Let me scoot the drawing over. Is that better? Should I just move the paper out of the way? Maybe?
Yeah.
There we go. Get this out of the way. There we go. I think that's better.
Yay.
Thanks, Bran. Let's even the wire up here, and then let's pull it up tight like this. Now, I'm going to give this 26 gauge wire one wrap around to secure it. Okay. This is where your bent chain nose plier is your super friend. Okay, see how I just came in and smushed that together. Okay, so there one is attached. Now let's go back and look at the tree roots one more time. Okay, I'm going to pull this photo in just real quick, and I want to look particularly maybe at this section right here of this photo. Okay, so this is when you have to think about like the spacing between the roots of the tree. Can you see there, the spacing there? If you want, like in my sample, see how my tree roots are all smushed together, which I like this look, that's fine. But if you want to spread things out a little bit more, this is what you're going to do. Here, when they're tight, I added my wire, I wrapped a couple of times, then I added my next wire. So what you're going to have to do is space things out a little bit more as you're bringing them around. So here's this first one, and I'm going to come around, keeping the tension. All right, so there's like 3 or 4 wraps maybe there. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to get my next one, bring it in, pull it together down here, and pull it tight. Push this one up next to that little coil you made down there, and wrap it a couple more times. Once, and then twice around. See, again, keeping tension, pulling with the hand that's holding the frame, and pulling with this hand here that's wrapping the wire. That's how I'm keeping all of these wires together and not in a big tangled mess. So I'm going to do a few of these kind of quickly. And I don't know, I cut 10, but who knows how many I'm going to use of those 10, right? So I'm going to pull it in. Maybe I want this one to be a little closer, so I'm just going to wrap this one around once. We'll add another one, maybe right up next to it. I don't know, think like a tree. I don't know what that means, but spreading your roots out. All right. Oh, great, Sarah. Right. Sarah, you posted that moon photo. Thank you for doing it. I really, that one is such a good one. We'll go ahead and add it into the episode notes. And I do hope that your kitty cat, Sam, is watching. Sam, are you there? Sammy, that's Janice's cat's name too. His name is Sammy. I know you guys are asking, well, where is Alfred? Where is that naughty pants? Well, he's gonna, it's been raining so much that we didn't want to bring him to the office in the rain. But Alfie will be back soon, because you know what April 1st is? Not only is it April Fool's Day, but Alfred, our sometimes office kitty, turns a year old. Can you imagine? Cara is threatening to make him a big kitty cat birthday cake, and we're going to have some kind of crazy kitty cat birthday party, I think, because we're all crazy cat people here at beadshop.com, except for Myra. No, just kidding. Didn't mean to throw you under the bus, Myra. But Alfred loves her. He just can't get enough of our Myra. Now see how, let me put this down so you guys can see this. Okay, and let me find the sample. There it is. And can you see, let me put that there. This is about, it's about the same width there. So I'm going to add a couple more. I think I've got a couple more here. I'm going to make it just slightly wider here. So let me do that. And again, you can just, I don't know, literally do you on this. And don't think too far ahead, right? Have a vague tree idea in your mind, but let this tree literally grow. Thank you very much. Did you see what I did there? In your brain, in your imagination as you make it. Okay, there's 2 more. I'm going to do 1 more on this side, and we'll call it a day for these guys. So I ended up using 8 strands, I guess, of wire, which has given me 16 branches to work with. So this is going to be, like we do everything here at beadshop.com, an epic tree. Okay, there we go. So you can see I've got some space. So there's all my branches. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those branches up. Now this sample that I did here, okay, I just twisted them all together to make the trunk. All right, and you can see that that's what Nicole and Janice did in the sample handout, right? They just grabbed everything and twisted it. But look at what a giant kind of root bed, I guess, I have here. So maybe I want to grab half or maybe just a few and twist these a bit. I don't know. I'm just making it up as we go along. Maybe what I'll do even before I do that is I'm going to twist a couple of these. So see how I'm going to grab it with my chain nose, get that, and literally, you guys, I'll pull it out so you can see this. Literally, you just twist this and twist and twist until you like the look of the twist, right? I like the look of that twist. Let's see. There was a question about here. So if one wanted an odd number of branches, would you combine two or more and twist and cut? That's exactly right, Mimi. And you're going to see me twist the branches up top too. Okay. So here's this twisted. Okay. And so let me twist like maybe, I don't know, 4 of these ones together. This might be, I think this is, I can't see it. 1, there we go. It's these 4 that are the next 4. Let me get that out here. Kind of isolate them down. And I'm going to get them, try and get them kind of close to the bottom. And see how I can also hold it stable with my pliers and twist the rim a little bit. There we go. That's making another kind of gnarl there, right? So we've got a couple, right? And then I've got these over here. I'm going to do that thing one more time over here. And again, on this one, the sample that I did, I just took them and twisted them all together, right? Nothing down here is twisted. But I thought it might make kind of a cool little detail right at the bottom. Get those out of the way. If I twisted them so you can see them. You don't want to over twist because you don't want to break any of this because this is 26 gauge. So you can be a little fragile if the wire gets over fatigued. Okay, so now I'm just going to pull all this stuff together. Maybe I'm going to kind of bend that one over. So see what I've got here? How I'm pulling all of these that I did. Maybe I'll bend this one also kind of in front. Smush, which is the technical term. And hold and twist. Okay, there we go. And so can you see when I flip it up now? I'll put this down so you guys can see these two side by side. Let me push this down before I do that. Sorry, Brandon.
That's right.
I wanted that to not be too pokey outy. There we go. Can you see that there? See how I've got little twists in here? I could, let's say that you wanted little flowers at the base of your tree, you guys. I could have put a couple of tiny seed beads down here if I wanted, or I don't know, whatever. Okay, so you can see that the trunk is a little bigger than, or a little wider, the diameter is bigger than this first one here. So now I'm just going to kind of think about what my branches are going to look like. So I'm going to pull that one down, and maybe I'll pull this one down, these down over here. They look like the ones on the end might kind of be near the back. So let me see. I've got these over here. There we go. See how I'm trying to follow the twist? See, there's the twist, so I'm pulling these two out over here. This one's kind of in front. We don't want everything to look too goofy. You know, you can have, I just want the wires to kind of lay nicely with the twist. So those are there. Now, I've kind of pulled these out. I like the way that these wires are looking, so I'm going to give that one more tight twist. I don't know, I liked it, so let me twist it. My pliers will help me get a good grip. Again, not a death grip, just a little grab there. There we go. And so when I pull it back up, yeah, look at that. I've got some branches coming off here. I've got some nice big branches coming off here. I've got those guys there, though my grandpa would have pruned all of those off if these were his prune trees, but we won't prune them. You could prune them if you wanted. If there were too many, you kind of twist them off probably and prune them down. Let's make this, let me get another kind of grouping here and maybe twist all of these together right here. I don't know, but I like how these all look together, so I'm gonna have them go together. And see, again, I'm using that bent chain nose, keeping the tension and just gently twisting. See that there? And then let's twist some more. Let's get two of these maybe on this side to even that twist out. I'm going to take these two together and twist these. How about that? And yeah, you could definitely bend the trunk a little bit. We can do that too next, to give it a little bit of flair. See these bent chain nose pliers? See how they just get in there, right? They're right, see the tips there? I grab it gently and I twirl it down. Grab it gently and twirl it. And just be really, I'm twirling it about 180 degrees at a time, right? So it has a nice even twist. Let me put this down so you guys can kind of see where we are with this, and Brandon can also take a good kind of episode notes photo. But you can see here, you guys, how I've got those twists in the trunk. Again, this is just screaming for me for some tiny beads down there, but I'm going to pretend that I put some in. And then I just start twisting, and then I broke those branches off and kept twisting, and then twisted those, broke those branches off, and broke those branches out. So this is all kind of, it's kind of coming together. I'm not sure what's going to happen up top here yet, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let me see if I can get just a little curve. Let's make this trunk a little gnarled, shall we? I've got my round nose plier here. I don't know. Maybe if I bend it one way and then bend it coming back the other way. That's kind of a good, kind of use the plier as a shaper maybe. There we go. That's a little better. He's bending over there a little bit. There we go. Can you see that? I've got a little bit of a shape going on in there. That's pretty nice. All right. So I'm going to start, I like the looks of this low-hanging branch right here. And I also, oh, you guys, I didn't even mention, I see them sitting here. I didn't mention another bead that would look great for these. I'm going to use the gemstones that I used earlier. But we have so many of these aged check seed beads. We have a whole bunch, and the aged check seed beads go in and out of stock all the time because, again, these are made in the Czech Republic. The glass colors, the coating colors are always different. And so this is what we have as of right now, February 27th, 2019. But if you go to our website and you click on our age check box, our age check category, you're going to see so many. These would look incredible on an old gnarled tree, these guys. this aged rustic stripe mosaic Picasso. That's a 10-aught. You could go all the way up to the 4-aughts. They would look amazing, and you can mix those up. So I love them, love them, love them. So I didn't want to forget to mention those. But the beads that I'm going to use, you guys, I've done a mix. I've got these moonstone rondelles. I've got this 3mm check fire polish, which I love. And then I don't have any in this pendant, but I knew I was going to want them when I was making this piece. I grabbed some 11-aught seed beads, okay, because I wanted a little, I don't know, a little soupçon, a little tiny taste of another color in there. And so I thought that these matte smoky amethyst AB just looks incredible and beautiful. So that's what I used. So I'm going to start right here with this trunk. And I'm going to, maybe I'll start with a 3mm because I like the way that tapers in. And then I'm going to add a moonstone and maybe another moonstone. And let's see what that looks like. Let me see if I can get this bead on there. There we go. So see how I draw that branch down and I think, well, that's okay. There's a little bit of space there though. So I think, and you can kind of pick and choose through your moonstones, through your beads, because they're a little bit of a different size. I can kind of see, oh yeah, look, that looks good. And I like that slope of that piece going there. So let's just wrap it in place. I'm going to grab it in my hand. Now I can wrap it down or up. I think I want to take up this space up here. So I'm going to wrap it up, meaning up to the top, not down towards the trunk. So I'm going to try and secure the beads underneath my thumb. And then my plier is going to help me pull all this together. Okay, there we go. Just like we wrapped the trunk, right? And now let's wrap it like we mean it. And I'm just going to wrap. Now what you can do, the handout says you can stop here, right, and clip this away, and then leave a space, and then do your next one. What I did on this guy, because I like the embellishment of the frame, I wrapped. I did heavy wrapping. What I still want to do down here is maybe come in and fill in with wrapping, I guess, is what I want to do. Though, I don't know, I kind of like the wrapping up there and the wrapping down there with the bare wire there. Doesn't, I don't know. Again, this is all about you and how you want to arrange this. So I'll just come in and wrap it a few times. This is why I use a 10-inch piece of wire to start with, right, you guys? So that I can grab the wire at the end, so any of my tool marks will be at the wire part that I'm going to take away. But you can see one little wrap after the other. And then I'm going to leave this here. I'm not going to get rid of that yet. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to put on another branch, shall we? So here's this. Why, my fingers don't want to put on these tiny beads today. There we go. Put on some moonstones. Moonstones to me kind of look like little tree blossoms. Getting back to the prune tree narrative. Some of you who grew up in this area and have been here a while will remember that the Santa Clara Valley was what they would call the Valley of the Heart's Delight, right? Because we had such wonderful seasons and wonderful growing times. Well, the roads, the streets, backcountry streets, the trees would just all be in bloom all at the same time. Brandwin will remember this because she grew up in a rural area as well, not far from where I grew up. And the cherry trees there in San Juan Bautista, always in bloom. But whenever I smell a tree that's blooming, it takes me right back to that time. I just love it. So these moonstones really feel like they're very blossomy to me.
With that little purpley, it almost does make me think of cherry.
Right, cherry blossoms,
Yeah,
right?
I was looking back, oh.
So let's go ahead, Bran, and let's add some of those purple ones into this one. This is one that I twisted up. So let me untwist it just a little so I can get these two kind of apart so I can get some beads on there. There we go. And so maybe I might even take this branch here. I'm going to twist it just a little, maybe one twist, hoping I don't break the wire. There we go. Maybe I would take this branch down, maybe. And let's put some of these purple ones on. These tiny, the tiniest cherry blossoms. Oops, come here. And then maybe one more of those. Put that on. Let's see what this looks like.
And could you have a partial bare branch with
Yeah,
okay.
Just some. Yeah, we could
Nancy was
twist
curious
and
about that.
some. Yeah. So I think that here I'm almost done with these two strands, right? Because I need a place to come in and wrap this one. So I think it's time. The time has come for this way. And then I'm going to get my beautiful little pliers here and just burnish those wires around the side. Okay, now I have a place to wrap my next branch. There we go. And can you see there how it just comes in and there's a little space there that I'm going to wrap. Yeah, drops you could certainly use. I bet that our check drops would look amazing. You could wrap one like moonstone briolette somewhere in these so it would look like kind of a briolette moon. I don't know. You could use a round, I don't know, capture a pearl in there or something. It would look like the moon peeking through the trees. I think it would be great.
Just almost a bare one with just one of the moon.
Yeah, would be really incredible. You can see, you guys, I hope I'm just starting you on the road to creativity with this, right? You're gonna take this and run with it. Let me just smush again, that's a technical term. Smush that down so it's nice and tight there. And then we can go on to this branch, and I'm just going to put a couple of moonstones right there. And then you're just going to continue wrapping. There's a good question here from Maria that I'm going to address. I really want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. She's asking, won't the points or tips where you cut the wire catch? And you really need to be careful of that, Maria. So let me show you really up close how I burnish that wire around. So if here's my piece, and I'm going to put one the teeniest of seed beads on top there. There we go. Okay. So now when I wrap, I'm going to wrap this one down so it fills in this space here. So watch what I do. I'm just going to wrap, and then I'll really show you how I burnish that sucker down. So there's that one. Now I could also, maybe it wants, even before I look at it, maybe that wants 2 seed beads. So let me because there's a little bit of movement there. So let me unfurl that. See how it's a little bendy, right? I could grab it here and straighten it out. Janice also observes, and it's great, couldn't you bring the extra wire back into the trunk with more stones to fill it out? Yes, I certainly could, JP. I could have wrapped it back here and wrapped it through here. If you really want a tree that's super, super luscious, there's no reason why you couldn't do that. And then Spidey asks over on the Facebook feed, she asks, can we add wire after the fact. And yeah, it would be really easy to add wire. I'll show you where I might do that. But here I've got that second seed bead on there. So it's kind of breaking out the fourth wall, right? Breaking over onto the frame, which I think is okay. I think it looks nice. So I'm going to come in. Let me wrap that kind of tightly and I'll show you how I burnish it down. So here's this. And I'm going to just come in and wrap it around. And wrap it around. And I'll just keep going. See those bent chain? I can't talk about this darn plier enough. How much I love it. It makes short work of wrapping around this frame. There we go, it's almost done. We get this and this here. There we go. See that? So now, Maria, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my wire to the back. And can you see, let me get my pointer. I'm going to cut it about right there. So I've got a little bit of a tip. So that when I burnish this in, the end is actually going to be pointing towards the front of the pendant, okay? So that the end isn't burnished and coming back to the back. So that when you are wearing it, and see how I get the bent chain nose tips, and I walk it around just to burnish that right around. And so, and then I feel it with my finger. I can't see anything. I can't feel anything there. I can feel this one. So I'm going to just burnish that in. There we go. And so that's how I deal with it. Okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to continue to fill this in like this. Okay. But you guys asked about adding wire, and I want to show you. See in this pendant here, see how the tree kind of V's off to that side and V's off to that side. And I really wished I had another wire right there. Okay, so I'm just going to add one. Let's add a piece. I've got one cut, a piece of 10 inches. And so I'm going to add it on the side here, okay, like this. And then I'm just going to wind it in. So if this is here, let's bring this round. I grab again my trusty companion, the bent chain nose. There we go. Maybe I'll do, well, this, I think this is good. There we go. And I'm going to bring it around here. Maybe I'll try and smush it up just a little. And I think I'm going to try and twist it down here just a little to bring it together. And I'll just add a little bit of texture and dimension. There we go. So that's tight. It's not moving. Okay. And move that over. Now I'm just going to, oh, sorry. I'm going to try and put it, let me go bring it to the back. I'm going to try and twist it in how the other wires are already twisted in this tree. So I brought it to the back. Now I'm going to bring it around to the front, wrapping around the trunk, twisting it back to the back like that. See, you can't even see, right? You can hardly see where it's adding. Bring it up to the front so it's here. Okay, where I made that little twist is a little goofy, so I want to fix it just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm able, I think I'm going to give myself a little twist down here. like this. Grab it and twist it. Grab it and twist it. Grab it and twist it. See how I'm twisting the plier and the pendant at the same time? Okay. Then I'm going to kind of maybe untwist this a little. Maybe it's time, like Mimi, you were asking earlier, to put a couple of beads on and then make some more twists. Let me just twist that a little bit tighter. It was a little loosey-goosey. There we go. Maybe what I'll do is I'm going to bend it around. I see a space where I'm going to push it through. And there's a little bit of a space over here, so I'm going to bring it back up. There we go. That goes there in the back. So it has a kind of a nice graceful curve to it. Right there we go. And then I'll poke it up. See, in that space right there. I said poke it up. Poke it up. There we go. In that space. There we go. So now my wires are in pretty good position. I could have added a bead or something there. And see on the back, you can't even tell. You can't even, it doesn't make any difference. So what am I going to do, you ask? I'm going to twist. And twist. Just a little. And maybe this is where, maybe there's one, maybe I twisted that a little too much. I'm going to untwist that. There we go. Maybe there's just one lone cherry blossom left on this tree. So I'm going to add this little guy here. There we go, and maybe a couple, maybe one here. There we go. Now I'm going to bring those together and twist them. I hope you guys can see this on the camera. But trust me, it looks amazing. There we go. So now those are nestled in. You know what? This is making me crazy. This. There we go. All right, that's better. I've got more leather. Look how I just drew that across the room. So now I've got space to add two more little branches. So let's do it. I'm going to add a blue and a moonstone, because it did kind of bug me. I was like, why is there a space in the middle there? That space isn't pretty. I need one more space there. There we go. And it's going to come in and it'll wrap. You know what? I was working on the back. Let me push it to the front. I was like, that's not the front. There we go. Pull that to the front. There we go. And I'm just going to poke this in and wrap it. Now it's okay that I already have wraps there. I can just do a few. Kind of spread that wrap along. And then I've got this one to finish, so let me poke it to the front. There we go. Straighten it out if it needs straightening. Okay. And then I've got a little space right there, so let me just add a moonstone. There, let me actually add a, so we've got more than two of these on there. There we go. And a moonstone. And one more seed bead. These just have like, they were late blossoms. There we go, just like that. That looks better already. Then with these tails, what I did, and I know we're getting short on time, so I don't want to go over too much today. So I want to show you how I'm going to finish this off. What I'll do is, remember my friend that I'm going to get these out of the way right now and I'll pull them back later. Remember my friend, the what's going to eventually be the loop on this, or the bail on this. What I'm going to do, I have one more 10-inch piece of wire. What I did on this one, can you see how the bail is wrapped? I could use the tails up here to wrap that bail, but before I do anything else on this, I can come in with my 10-inch piece of wire and just kind of wrap around that original wire wrapping, and then start to wrap. I'm doing this quickly, but see how I'm wrapping what's eventually going to be the loop? See that there? And how I'm keeping it at a nice 40 degree, who learned their geometry? A nice 90-degree angle. There we go. Like so. Okay? I can kind of push it down so it fills it in. And again, that's that 10-inch piece of wire. I want this bail on here to be a little bit longer, so I'm going to wrap until I've run out of wire. Okay, and again, I'll do that little trick where I burnish the wire in, burnish it in, and push it down. Now I'll bend this forward. I'm not going to cut away the excess wire yet. I want to make sure that my loop is going to be big enough. So I'm just going to kind of push this loop around my plier like this to act as kind of a mandrel there. Push that space, that little space where it opened up. Just push that down. There we go. Clip away. Now I can clip away my extra back here because I know it's big enough. And use that chain nose plier to tuck this in. I could, if I had extra wire, if I had cut some extra or didn't make this loop large enough, I could have kept going with that end of the wire, okay, and just wrapped it around. I'm going to do that here with this end. So just use your extra wire and clip it in, tuck it in where you want it to go, okay. Oh, that's very nice of you to say, Denise, that you like this tree of life. I think it's not too bad itself. So see, these are they're starting to kind of come together here. So, and Michelle's asking if you have baling pliers. Sure, baling pliers would work. You can just push it around, but I think your round nose pliers are good enough. It's not so wide that it's going to be too wonky. Okay, so this one, we can just come in, maybe I'll use this one that's here to just kind of wrap a little bit. I could also use it to wrap beads around the top of that bail, which I thought would be kind of cool. You could also, if you wanted, again with these size 11 seed beads, I want to show you one last trick. And then we'll start wrapping it up here, literally. But that looks a lot better filled in, right? So much better, right? I did that on purpose, just for you guys. But let's say that I wanted to fill in on the bottom if I didn't like that bare wire, though I don't mind it. Karen, you're asking what the length of the 16 gauge wire is to make the square. I started working off of my spool of 16 gauge, and then I kind of went from there. But if this is 1, 2, 3, 4 inches plus some 5 inches plus extra 6, I'd cut about 8 inches of wire to really have enough. Okay, and someone else is also asking about the shadows here on my bracelet, and I know a couple of people have been asking. You can find my bracelet here on beadshop.com under Kate's Favorite. These are our regular shadows and 2mm leather, but it's all there. The project is all on the website. And I did it as, did I do it as a Facebook Live? I think I did not long ago. So you guys can find it there as well. So check it out, you guys, what I could do with these 11/aughts if I was so inclined. I'm just going to give myself some wrapping, and then I could edge this wrap, a little edge treatment, if I can do this quickly. Then maybe I do 2 wraps in between. There's 1 and 2 because we need to clear the space in between. Michelle added a great tip. She says a Tylenol bottle works well for shaping the circle. That's great. That's a great idea. Like a pill bottle is a nice round sturdy size for that. Great idea. See here how I'm trying, not very successfully, to line up these seed beads so they make a nice, almost like a picot edge. Let me do 1 more here on the edge, and then I'll move my finger so you guys can see it. Okay, but that little guy right there. Oh, it looks like it got linked. Thank you, Janice, for linking that in. So can you see? I'll put it down, and Brandon, you can get kind of up close and personal. But I'll finish the edge on this one, and I'll finish this other one here. But see how I used those little size 11s. I don't want to break it off, but I want to, there we go. And just lined them up like little soldiers in a row on here. Okay. So I think this is a nice little closure around the side. So I'll fill that in. But look at how majestic that tree looks. And again, with some of that, those twisted branches coming up like this. So you can see just how you want to create this. So however you want to do it. It's so up to you. Now, before I sign off here, I want to show you something.
We're low on battery.
Oh, low on battery? Oh, so we want to plug it in. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon. I want to show you something real quick before we move this guy. I want you to see. Let me see if I can get this plugged in. Here, I've got it. There we go. Yay. I want to show you guys something before I sign off. We're going to move the camera and everything. Oh, and great, Michelle, thanks. If you want to use the photo for the episode notes, thank you so much for letting us, giving us permission for that. So we will link your amazingly beautiful piece in the episode notes as well. Thank you so much for letting us do that. I want to show you, if you opened your newsletters today, you saw a couple of things. You saw that we were having the Tree of Life episode today, but you also saw that we're having a raffle, and that raffle is going all day. Now, usually I do this when the camera is in the other position, but I wanted to show you what our raffle prize is today, and I wanted you guys to be able to see it. Now, up close and personal. So you know, and I'll kind of put this here, we'll talk about what you need to do to enter the raffle if you haven't already. You know that I went to Tucson just last or beginning of this month. And I did some really fun, really great shopping. I had a lot of fun finding some beautiful new stuff. And it was the last day of shopping, and I was super tired. And I'm leaving one of the tents, and I am walking by this table, and I am assaulted visually by opals. And I stopped, and I could not take it. I stopped, I looked at every strand of opal, and we were at the end of our budget. There was no way that I was going to be able to buy opals right now to add to the website. I was like, no, end of the budget. End of it, end of it, end of it. And so, shop. This raffle's going on all day. So we're extending this past the hour. So don't worry, you'll have time to get yourself in the raffle. So I picked a strand, and I thought, I'm just going to buy one strand of these, and we're going to do a raffle. And since I was doing this with the semi-precious beads and stuff, I thought it would be a perfect giveaway. It's hard. It doesn't translate really well to the camera, though maybe it does. The flash on these gosh darn opals, and they're slightly graduated, and it's a 16-inch strand. Okay. And so I got one and I thought we're just going to raffle it off. So today is the day for the raffle. Sorry, it's in my grimy little hand. Look at these beautiful stones in my grimy paw. So if you guys place an order, and I'm going to pull this to the fore so you guys can see it. If you order, and actually it says 1 p.m. today, but Karen wrote this. This is actually tonight on 2/27/2019 in Pacific time, and you write pick me in your order notes, you'll be in the opal raffle, and we are going to pick the winner of the raffle tomorrow. Cara will pick it, and these actually are Ethiopian opals. They are the quality. I spent a little money on them, don't tell Janice. And of course we are having, it was in our email this morning in our newsletter. We have a special sale going on today. Stones and wire. So all of these beautiful gemstones and stuff like that we've got are all on sale. They're 20% off. You add tree 20 to your order, 20% off. And again, that ends tonight, 2/27/2019. Right, I'm not telling you, JP, not telling you. So the raffle, this was such a special thing that I didn't want you guys to rush, and I wanted everybody to have a chance to get in on it. So order before midnight tonight on the 27th, and write pick me in your notes. And this is just, it's going to be hard for me to put these in your little package, but I think the flash, you're going to open it up when you win, and you're going to be so super stoked. So we'll go ahead and move this back around, bar random win, and I will sign off. You guys will see my super messy table now, right? And someone asked which tent it was. I can't even remember, you guys. It was so, I was in need of like food and water and probably a scarf, because this year's Tucson was freezing. I don't know if you guys went to Tucson this year. Someday, my dream, and I'll throw it out there for you guys, because you always have to say a dream out loud. Wouldn't it be fun to do someday to do like a little kind of, I don't know, bead shop meet and greet out there, right? And then I take you shopping, maybe, for Kate's favorite places in Tucson. And then we have dinner at the Ethiopian restaurant. I'm just saying that would be really fun. Maybe for 2021. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. Because a lot of you have never been to Tucson, right? And you're like, it's a daunting task. So you never know what might happen. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it, right? This Tree of Life project was super fun. I'm going to finish up both samples so Karen can photograph them for the episode notes, and Drea will have some fun putting this all together in the episode notes. Do remember that sale is going on. I'll flash it for you again. Stone and Wire, 20% off till tonight. Today is 2/27. February's almost gone. 2019, and that sale ends at midnight tonight. If you are, and remember, pick me in your order notes to be entered in the raffle, and you have till midnight tonight Pacific time to do your shopping and add that there. If you are new to Bead Shop and you've just stumbled across us on YouTube or however you found us, and you have not subscribed to our newsletter or seen our projects, what I want you to do when this video ends, pop on over to our website, okay? And there's a little box there that says add your email for our email newsletter. That's the way we communicate with you. All of our sales, we do. I did like 3 days of little Tucson giveaways. They were so fun, and I hope you guys, those orders have gone out. I hope that you guys love your little Tucson treats in there. They'll be arriving at your doorstep any moment. But we do a lot of great fun stuff, like we announced the Ali Mori, the lookbook, all kinds of fun stuff there. So we promise to keep all of your information private. We don't sell or give away or loan our email lists. So we really, really appreciate your business. It keeps us doing stuff like this. These free classes every Wednesday and Friday are just simply because you support us, and we really, really appreciate that. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. On Friday, I've got Free Tip Friday coming up, and it kind of dovetails a little bit on these tiny beads, tiny gemstone beads. There was some chitter chatter on our Facebook group, the Bead Table, about how to string or what threads would be appropriate for these tiny, tiny gemstones. I'm going to show you a couple of my tricks on that. We're going to look at thread, and we're going to look at soft flex wire to see what's the most appropriate. You know, Janice has done this with her, if you didn't see her briolette, her gemstone knotting Facebook Live that was done a few weeks ago. That's a great place to start, get a little homework done before my Free Tip Friday broadcast. It's a great one to go back and watch as well. So, okay, you guys, what a project. Trees abound. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Brandwin, you did amazing camera work as always. You guys did amazing watching work as always. And a big thanks to Gita and for Janice for linking everything. And I will see you guys on Free Tip Friday. And then next week, I've got a fun wrap bracelet for you. And then the week after that, you know who's going to be here? Janice. So just a couple more weeks and she'll be with me in this new Facebook Live studio. I'm super stoked to have her back. So we miss her, and we're glad to have her visit. So we can't wait for that. All right, you guys, that's it. I'm out. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.